Broads Media.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome on in to Sports Talk with Broads. It is day 3 of being Super Bowl champs, and I am not tired of it. I love waking up, making a cup of coffee, knowing we did what we did to Andy Reid. We did what we did to that Chiefs offensive line. We did what we did to Pat Mahomes, who probably is having legitimate nightmares and sweats. There's nothing worse than when you're flip-flopping, waking up every 30 minutes, you're sick, you're coughing, you're profusely sweating, you're ripping off your clothes to try and make it feel better, but then you're down to your boxers and you're still sweating and you can't believe it. You need to catch sleep. That's Pat Mahomes every single night since Sunday, and it's probably not going to stop. It's going to be weeks and weeks of hell. It's going to be weeks and weeks of torture. And I guess you kind of deserve it, considering you shit the bed and you were so garbage. And I know that the Eagles were the ones to sort of dictate that. They were the ones to make you look so uncomfortable and force you to be out of whack. But hey, I mean, you didn't rise to the occasion. So now you have to sit in that filth. Sorry. That's the price, the price you pay. I would like to speak, but I can't properly because I'm so excited about my football team. All right, so here's where we begin today's show. When did you know? Reflect back to the regular season. This one was strange. The first 2 weeks was abysmal. Even coming off of the bye week, you had your head coach against the Cleveland Browns squeak out a win and look like a dope. You beat a New York Giants team who clearly suck. So when they were 4-2, and they did turn the page from the first 4 weeks after the bye, it still had an uncomfortable feeling about them. So what was the sequence? Or what was the one game in particular where it registered in your brain that this team, they can do something serious? Now, I have 2 major parts of the season that I want to bring up. The second half of Cincinnati, they were 4-2 at the time. The second half, they scored 27 points, and they finally looked like a team that had a different step in them. And that was big for me because I didn't know if they had it in them at all. So that was the first time where they looked to be a team that was different from the first 6 games of the year. They hit a new level. They showed signs of a team that you watch and you go, oh, whoa, 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 what do we have here? Whoa, 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 if they maximize that, now we're talking. Now we're playing with something serious. So I never knew if this group, through 6 games, even had it in them. That was the first time that I watched them do something that I truly, really, really enjoyed. Outside of week 1 in Brazil when they beat Green Bay, and I'll always reflect back on that wheel route by Saquon that resulted in a touchdown, or the pass to A.J. Brown to start out the second half. But week 1's very fluky. From there, things look to be really awkward, especially knowing the season prior collapsed so ugly. So Cincinnati in the second half was big for me because I didn't necessarily know if it was going to be sustainable. And the funny part is they never lost a game after that unless it was because your starting quarterback had to leave 11 snaps into the game and then he got thrown in the Kenny Pickett experience and still should have won. But for the first time, I had the needle move. So I acknowledge that as the potential turning point of the season because they reached a style of football and a level of football that I didn't know if they necessarily had in that locker room. Now let's fast forward to later on into the season. It was the 3-game stretch where they hosted the Washington Commanders and scored 20 points in the fourth quarter at home and dominated in that second half. They went out to L.A. Saquon Barkley puts up 300 yards himself. So on the road, watch out. The Rams are getting healthy. They got their receivers back. Sean McVay, he's so flashy. He's got Stafford. That's a better combination with the head coach and the quarterback than what we have here. So I was told. And I was told that later on in the playoffs too, which is pretty fucking hysterical. Vic Fangio, after a first couple of drives where the Rams established something, became a force. The defense turned it on. The Eagles' offense scored 30+. Yeah, that was a huge statement by Saquon. And then they went on the road after playing on the West Coast, went to Baltimore and challenged their number one rush defense. And Saquon had over 100 yards on the ground. And I remember all week long trying to figure out if you should lean into your strengths and just challenge what the Ravens do so well and say, all right, you better prove to me first that you have something in your tank to actually stop Saquon before we start to go out of our comfort zone and do other things, because that's our number one approach. Our number one approach has always been, let's see if we can establish the run. Do you want to get away from that without even trying? Because you know the Ravens, in theory, especially at home, could stop you? Or would you like to try and punch them in the mouth at their own game? And Saquon was able to do his thing and run for over 100. 3 straight wins. And at the time, the Commanders had 7 wins. There were a lot of buzz about them. And, you know, Commanders fans all year long keep looking back at that first matchup, saying that Jaden Daniels was injured and he had the ribs, and that's why it looked the way that it did. No. We're just significantly better than you. That's what it comes down to. And we proved that in the NFC Championship game when we hung 50+ on your ass. Those were the 2 key moments for me. And then they rattle off a billion wins in a row throughout that process. They beat the Steelers when the Steelers actually found a way to stop Saquon from having a field day. And then the passing game started to explode, and that really wowed me as well. But it was hard even coming off of the bye when they had the team meetings about becoming a run team and establishing Saquon Barkley more. When you beat Cleveland in such an ugly fashion at home and the head coach is barking at fans behind the bench, acting all tough, and then you beat a Giants team, it's hard for that to really swing me one way or the other because the Giants blow. The Browns blow. I need to see you do something that can actually hit me hard, right? I want it to be a big wave of emotions where you change my thought process, where you change what I think about you because you're facing off against serious opponents and doing something when you see them, something real. And that second half against Cincinnati was the first eye-opener where I thought, all right, that's the team that can be serious. That's the team that can go out and do damage, where you don't want to mess with them, where you're afraid when they are clicking as smoothly as they did there. You don't want to go up against that beast. You don't want to see that team. And then from there, they really just kicked it into gear. So that's where I saw it all season long. What else is going on here? Well, Kellen Moore went to the Saints. As we look at some of my notes, it's hard for me to really get into that right now. I'm still in reacting mode. I'm still in absorbing what this season was mode. I have so much faith in Howie Roseman. I have so much faith in the leadership of this organization right now that I feel they're going to do the right thing. But I do want to at least say this from my very early thoughts of what the coordinator position should be. I don't know if I want to go with inexperience. I don't know if I want to go with someone like Kevin Petula, who I know is Nick Sirianni's right-hand man and has been through so much with him. To me, I really loved what they established with this Vic Fangio, Kellen Moore stuff. Experience. It's a good job that good coordinators would want. Nick Sirianni right now has a tree of coordinators that are constantly getting head coaching jobs, and that's always the end goal. So if there is someone out there that has called plays, that still wants a crack at a potential spot to be a head coach, you come here, you get to work with Jalen, AJ, Saquon, this offensive line, Devontae Smith. This is about as sexy of a coordinator job as you could find in the league. It's very attractive, and you can land the best. I want to get someone like Kellen Moore, like Vic Fangio. I want to get just good experience. I don't want to try the Brian Johnson thing again and have an internal hire. And I don't know, maybe Kevin Patullo is very good. Maybe he is very sharp. And just because the Brian Johnson experience wasn't very good doesn't mean that the next guy is going to fail. And that is the normal trajectory. But just seeing how much better and how much there was of just the foundation set with the Kellen Moore, with the Vic Fangio. I love what Nick Sirianni provides, but I think he's, not that he can't grow, because I think he's just going to continue to improve. But I know the Nick Sirianni offense, I mean, he constantly gives that up whenever he gets it back. So it's not my favorite thought, going in-house with inexperience. That's my very early thought of Kellen Moore leaving. But I'm just not really in that headspace right now because I'm trying to reflect back on how we got here, what Friday's going to be like when I look forward, when I realized that this team was something special. I mean, I'm still soaking this whole thing in. I'm absorbing it. And I don't know if this makes me a petty son of a bitch or if this makes me a bad guy, but I actually went back and listened to Kansas City Sports Talk Radio on Monday morning. I went back to their Monday morning show and wanted to hear the first initial natural reaction. They were still in New Orleans, so they were doing their reaction first crack at it on the airwaves from New Orleans after such an ugly loss, and there was a split. There was a divide on how the hosts were feeling. One host said, yeah, we'll be right back. Don't worry about it. Next year, Super Bowl champs, book it. Pat Mahomes, you know he's going to want revenge. You know this is going to eat him alive. So let's just get back to work, fix some stuff on the offensive line, figure out what we can do to improve. I got so much faith in Andy Reid, and let's see how it goes. Then the other host goes, I don't know. This seemed to have cracked us. This seemed to have broken us. I've never seen this group on the sidelines look that defeated. I've never seen such a talented team who is looking for their third straight Super Bowl fail so miserably. I've never seen a team that had a quarterback who can play that out of his mind look so out of touch. This could be a spot where we have to regroup. It's not as if Tom Brady went to the bowl every year. He almost had two different windows, right? One host was wondering if this was a spot where they now have to regroup heavy, really look at this, and it might take a little while to get back to the, hey, we got a few runs in us again under Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. So did we break them? Oh, they're thinking they're broken. They're thinking we broke them in half. And I was enjoying every single second of it. So maybe there's a problem with me because instead of just sitting in the greatness of this town and listening 24/7 to everything we're saying here in this beautiful city and reacting as one, I'm listening to what New York Sports Talk is saying about Saquon lifting the Lombardi in an Eagles uniform. I'm checking in to see what Kansas City is saying, knowing that they are feeling a ton of pain. That does sound like a personal problem. There's probably something psychological in that says, yo, you're a psychopath and you're an idiot. But whatever, that's just who I am. You got to take the good with the bad. If that's the bad, so be it. All right. Listen, before we continue here, and I have some audio I want to play, I have your anytime hotline calls as well. You know my friends at DraftKings are the best. And listen, they didn't just win some itty-bitty, teeny-tiny bowl, okay? The Birds won Super Bowl 59. So get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. And now you got hoops, college hoops, NBA. You got baseball right around the corner, some futures. You got the NHL. When I tell you DraftKings is the best place to bet, I mean it. And new DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BRODES. That's code BRODES for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boudreaux Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. You know what's hilarious? There's something trending right now on Twitter. I guess somebody wrote an article, and it's about how Howie Roseman is going to get caught with his salary cap stuff, and because he has all these void years, it's eventually going to bite the Eagles in the ass. And good thing they maximize this opportunity because the Eagles are going to be in cap hell soon. You are so dumb. You are such a moron. You are absolutely insane and stupid. Just do your research. Howie just continues and continues and continues to manipulate the cap space. People try to be heroes, and they try and do all this work, and they try and do all this math, and they look at spot track and this and that. No. See, what you don't understand clearly is that Howie Roseman does things that nobody knows how to do. And I've been informed that these void years are going to kill us my whole life. I'm almost 30. Since Howie Roseman reestablished himself and started kicking this puppy into gear, I've been told that they are going to be crushed by the void years all the time. There are times where cap hits happen. Still found a way. Great drafting helps that. And then this article goes, yeah, but when you draft good, then you got to pay. Oh my God. But what happens when you pay Saquon, who isn't even, by the way, getting hit that heavy because of the greatness of Howie Roseman and the structure? You know, Jalen Hurts isn't getting hit that heavy on the cap. But, you know, you play the numbers game in a very Howie-like way. You push money back. You got void years here. You do this, you do that. You get them on cheap contracts early. You pay guys while they're on their cheap contracts. They get paid. You do this, you do that. You flip. Howie's not getting stuck. And the one time he did with Carson, he makes a trade, then go look at how that trade actually impacted this franchise. You move him even when you take a cap hit. I mean, it's silly. It's silly to think you can't operate smoothly with a genius like Howie Roseman throughout this salary cap and these void years. I promise you this. Howie isn't pushing this thing all the way back where there isn't an out. He's prepared for the out when he makes the decision originally to add certain void years and putting money in certain spots in the salary cap and with the years. I mean, just shut up. Just shut up. If you have any sort of understanding of what Howie does in a broad sense. You can't actually understand it because no one understands it. There are general managers who have tried to study the greatness. There are people who have been in this organization. They've been poached because they work under Howie. They go to other spots. They can't do what he does because he's that great at it. So GMs around the league can't even figure it out. You think you can, Mr. Blogger? You think you can, Mr. Writer? I mean, come on, bro. So from a very bland, vanilla view, we get what he does. He manipulates this whole thing. I mean, once you understand that, then just shut up. Shut up. Because you look dumb. You look like an idiot. Just like Miami. You might be thinking, Broach, what the hell does that have to do with anything? Vic Fangio, that culture down there in Miami, whew, losers. Listen to Nolan Smith post-game after they won Super Bowl 59 talking about Vic Fangio on the field.
Man, all I got to do is say shout out to Vic Fangio, man. That man, I know he old, but man, he got so much knowledge left in there, and I can't wait to just take it from him and just take all the knowledge that he could give to the game, man. He's an amazing coach.
You hear that? That's a winner. And that's the same guy when Howie Roseman called him on draft day, and he goes, you know how much this bothers me that I'm selecting you as a man from University of Florida, right? Because that's where Howie Roseman went. He goes, no, this is pissing me off. He goes, yeah, but you want to win, coach. Or not coach, but Howie, you want to win. The difference between a loser organization and having winners, having dogs, is this guy who's just getting started in his career, having a monster second season and a huge response to a disappointing start, says, let me listen to this man who's been in the league longer than I've been alive so I can absorb every single little piece of information he has about winning in this league. I want it all. And they all feel that way. Jalen Carter, Nakobe Dean, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell. They're all wired that way. And when you have Vic Fangio in that building expressing the details and the fundamentals and, you know, just the right way to scheme up teams and scheme up against teams, I should say, and have this team maximizing each person's individual skill set for a collective group to be a number one defense, and to do that to a Kansas City offense with Pat Mahomes. They're rushing 4 and beating more men every single snap as well. That desire, that inspiration, the whole thing, the zone though, like everything, the zone defense, the zone coverage that helps out as well with this beautiful set of corners and the linebacker playing Vic and the way that they all buy in, the mentality of all the players in this franchise compared to any other franchise. It's night and day. It truly, truly is. All right, let's go to the Anytime Hotline. Before we do, you know I love my friends at Garage Beer. DrinkGarageBeer.com, 0% IPA, 100% light beer, 1,000% quality. There's no better beer out there. Friday, it's going to be a big drinking day here in town as the parade will be very hot and heavy in the streets. There's only one beer to drink on that day, and that, of course, is Garage Beer. All right, let's go to the phones.
Bro, Dave. First of all, congratulations on behalf of Philadelphia, and we are all part of this thing, so congratulations to you, vice versa, the whole nine. Other than how awesome and incredible it feels to be, Super Bowl champions and prove a lot of haters wrong, it's not quite as good, but it is still very good, is watching the people like Nick Wright sit there and get publicly shamed for some of the absolute garbage that's allowed to be put into the media by these talking heads. It has been fantastic to see the apology tour. I'm really enjoying that. It's a nice little cherry on top. I think that's where I'd go with it. Anyway, love the show.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the call. Yeah, it's awesome watching Nick Wright get exposed every day. He probably had the worst potential NFL season in history when it comes to takes. And look, you're going to be wrong sometimes. There's no doubt about it. I didn't like Nick Sirianni early. I was wrong about that. And, you could tell some of the media members like Chase Daniel, who just says things that are the right things to say, but he doesn't really believe it. What I mean is sometimes you'll be like, hey, we got to give Jalen his flowers. But you can tell he doesn't want to because he's probably jealous that he's not as good as Jalen. Never was, never will be, of course. He's sitting in that chair for a reason now. But, all the nonsense that he spewed, you could tell he's rooting for Jalen to fail so he looks like a better analyst. And there's a bunch of those out there. You're going to be wrong, but it's about how you handle how wrong you are. And then sometimes you got to realize how stupid you sound when you're saying some of your takes. I mean, Colin Cowherd, for example, said he doesn't even think the Eagles are going to get in the red zone. I mean, what are we doing? Colin Cowherd said before this game that he doesn't even see a world where the Eagles against Spags' defense can get in the red zone. They fucking killed them! And it was the Chiefs that couldn't even get to our side of the 50 and couldn't do anything until you put in your backups. We beat them so bad the damn backups are getting real snaps, and Kenny Pickett is throwing it on 4th down. That's how much of an ass whooping it was. Yeah, you got this nonsense out there. So it's just crazy. I'm okay with having takes that are wrong, but I'm not okay when you go so far and you go so extreme that it's embarrassing. And then not only that, when you're so salty about previous takes, sometimes I just respect it where you go, I was wrong. I was wrong. Instead, they bounce around a little bit. It's a blessing and a curse, because here's why. Next year's going to come around, and all these people that are giving him his flowers now, they're going to hate Jalen Hurts next year. That maybe they start out 2-2 again, no preseason, slow start, September, Super Bowl hangover, eventually turn it into gear for sure. But I'm just saying that may happen, right? Jalen can't throw, Jalen's this, Jalen's that, Nick Sirianni's an idiot, blah, blah, blah. These same people are going to go through the same exact cycle, and it's annoying because you think maybe at some point you get over that, but where it's a blessing is this team thrives off of it. Jalen Hurts is still willing to utilize that as motivation to continue that burn and fire. So whatever helps Jalen, whatever helps this team in the long run, the national disrespect is actually something that I think helps this team thrive. So to some point, yeah, I mean, I think you got to utilize that to your advantage. But I do agree that there's some things here throughout the last couple of days that I have admired and appreciated just because people have looked so silly and so stupid. Some have owned up to it nicely. Others are still continuing to bash the quarterback and say it was really just about Saquon. And look, I believe in the take that, for everyone that said Saquon didn't do anything and Jalen balled out just on his own, and he did ball. Jalen balled. But I don't want to. This is not about a Jalen thing. Trust me. I'll spend an hour on Jalen's greatness alone. But the presence of Saquon, I mean, he had a lot of carries. He didn't get as much yardage as we would like. But his presence is what dictated that whole game. That whole game and everything Spags brought to the table, which he was wrong to not have another plan after this in case this didn't work. And for as great as Spags is, I saw, who was it? It was, who's on the ringer now? Sheil Kapadia. It was Sheil Kapadia who put out a tweet about Steve Spags. So Spags has been a defensive coordinator for 25 playoff games in his storied career. Based on EPA per pass play and dropback success rate, Jalen Hurts' performance in the Super Bowl was the best ever for a quarterback in a playoff game against Spags. It does matter that Saquon was out there, and that is what dictated the passing game and dictated the entire flow of the game. So Saquon truly still did matter, not to take anything away from Hurts, because he balled out and made great throws and recognized a ton at the line of scrimmage, and he was a big part of the success. But I don't like this whole, you won and Saquon didn't do anything. I mean, you're right, he didn't do as much as we would think, and I never thought he'd get stopped for the amount of rushing yards that he did, but the sell out for Saquon is sort of what allowed this offense to hump. So he mattered. This is to highlight Saquon, because Saquon had a big role in that win too. That makes sense? Just trying to show love to 2-6, even though the stat sheet might not say anything. All right, back to the phones.
Hey, bros. This is Kyle calling, long-time listener, first-time caller. Hey, man, I'm fucking jacked up, dude. I just wanted to let you know, so I just get home from deployment in Iraq, and this is how the birds give me a welcome home. This is beautiful. I just want to let you know I love everything you do. You were a huge link to everything that it meant to be home in like Philadelphia while I was over there in Iraq and Syria. And Yo, keep it up, dude. You're the fucking best. Hey, this is our fucking time. I got fucking dreams and nightmares on repeat. Yo, we got a fucking parade on Friday. This is our fucking time. Anyway, yo, just keep it up, dude. I'm so happy. I'm at a loss for words, bros. This is beautiful. Go Birds. This is our fucking time. Let's run it back.
Yes, let's run it back. Dude, first off, thank you for everything that you're doing. And two, wow, that hit me. You know, I feel kind of like Mekhi Becton, just sitting there and appreciating the moment. Speaking of Mekhi Becton, what a story. What a story. What a story for Jordan Mailata. What a story for Cooper DeJean. What a story for Nolan Smith. What a story for everybody here. What a story for Landon Dickerson. Amazing. But seriously, back to the call. Thank you for everything that you do, for real. And yeah, I don't think this team's going anywhere. You mentioned back-to-back. I don't think this team's going anywhere. Now, it's very hard and very difficult after a Super Bowl and, you know, this whole thing. But even, I know last year ended bad, but it's pretty ridiculous to think that this group started out 10-1 after losing a Super Bowl. Forget what happened after that. That was very, very bizarre. How many teams start out 10-1 after a Super Bowl loss? That's very hard to get up from. I actually think it's probably easier to set the tone the following year after a Super Bowl win than it is after a Super Bowl loss. That may sound a little crazy because I spent the whole last 2 weeks about the hunger and the desire and the pain of not winning. And when you finally win organically, it's hard to get up from that. But not when you got Jalen. Not when you have someone like Jalen that is just so unique and so rare, and his ability to lead. His work ethic is so motivating that you can't not match it. You'll get lost. You'll get left behind. And there's still work to do, right? There are some free agents, key free agents. Zach Bond. But here's the thing, too, which goes back to Howie. As much as we got to figure out Becton, we got to figure out Bond, Milton Williams, and Josh Sweat, for example, right? All these examples of guys that are going to be leaving here and this and that. We didn't have Mekhi Becton. We get a Mekhi Becton. We didn't have Zach Bond. You get a Zach Bond. You go get a CJ GJ once you realize you need help there. You draft a Cooper DeJean and a Quinyon Mitchell. They weren't here before. Howie Roseman finds ways to get these players here. These same players that we're wondering, oh, what do you do without them? Well, we didn't have them, and then we got them. So it's just that next wave. There's constant turnover in this league, and we'll figure it out. Howie's not going to sleep at night satisfied with just 2 Super Bowls. This guy, he's the same way as Jalen. I mean, his story speaks for himself on how he even got here. And with the Chip Kelly thing, and then he gets his fire back, you know, and then not only that, then there were hiccups along the way, and then he rebounded from some of those draft picks with Jay Jaw and Jalen Reagor, and now we're here. It's funny, that one video of him going viral on the fist pump while drafting Milton Williams, and then a lot of people in the draft room were upset. What was it, Donahue, or whatever, didn't want to give him the fist pump. But maybe I'm speaking out of pocket here on which guy it was, but off the top of my head, that's what's ringing a bell. And Bill Williams was stunned in Super Bowl. And Howie was getting heat for that. Oh, he's not listening to his scouts. He's not listening to his guys. He's not listening to his people. Maybe Howie was right. And now Howie's looked at as, I mean, truth be told, it's going to be hard to take down Howie Roseman's tenure with how much is ahead of him as well. But in regards to front office members, I mean, Howie Roseman could legitimately go down as the best in Philadelphia sports history, and no one ever tops it. It could be that special. How about that for a turnaround, huh? Crazy, isn't it? I got a text from Mike Gill, who I used to work with down in Atlantic City when I worked on 97.3 ESPN. When we drafted Jalen, we used to go back and forth every single second of every single day because you just signed Carson. I didn't understand it. And he hit me up and goes, you understand it now? I'm like, dude, come on. Come on. Yeah, at the time he was drafted, it made perfect sense. Come on, man. But it is crazy now that the story is unfolded. All right, let's take one more call.
Broads, 10th time caller, first time listener. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pissed the fuck off. All I heard all season was this wasn't it, this team blah, this team flat. My fucking boss, don't bet against Mahomes. Don't, shut up, you idiot! Do you not know who's on this team? Idiot! That's what I'm calling everybody, idiot! You fucking idiot!
Your boss?
Don't bet against Mahomes. Bro, do you not know who the team has? Do you not know who Cooper DeGene is? Do you not know who's on this? This Eagles team isn't just the best Eagles team of all time. It's the best NFL team of all time. I don't care what no one says. The best Eagles quarterback of all time, the best Eagles running back of all time, the best two Eagles receivers of all time, the best Eagles linebacker of all time, the best Eagles coaching staff of all time. I'm pissed the fuck off. I want to play next week and rip somebody heads out again.
Wait. What do you mean you're pissed the fuck off? Oh man, why are you pissed? They just won the Super Bowl, man. Oh man, I don't even know what to say. I love the fire, man. I love the energy. 1,000%. I agree with you. This is the best running back. And I'm a Shady guy. I'm a B West guy. Is the best running back. Jalen is the best quarterback in franchise history. I'm a big Donovan McNabb fan. Never got the job done. Nick Foles was a fun story. Not a franchise quarterback. Jalen Hurts is the best franchise quarterback in Eagles history. Nick Sirianni is the best head coach in Eagles history. That is true. That is true. Now, Zach Baun's season, very special. There's been more connecting people, if you will. You know, there's more connections with the linebacker position. Listen, there's been some linebackers that stand out in an Eagles uniform over their time, all right? You know. So, I'm kind of thrown off by the anger. You know, maybe just flip your boss off. Say, yo, go fuck yourself. Maybe that's the route you got to go. Now, there's more to this call, but I'm actually kind of afraid. We'll play it out and see where this goes here.
And rip somebody heads out again. That's all this team does, is rip people's throats out. We're fucking champions. I'm a champion. I'm a champion. Idiot. Bro, say with me on the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
I'm
Idiot.
a champion. Oh, damn.
What is wrong with people? God, I love this team. God, I love Coach Sirianni is the best Eagles coach of all time. I'm not gonna lie, and that's so crazy to hear in 2025.
It is crazy. It is crazy. I'm going to cut you off there because God knows where we go after that. I butchered everything. I thought on the count of three we were going to say I am a champion. But yeah, no, I mean, Nick Sirianni is the best coach in Eagles history. It's the truth. It's the truth. You know what the best food is in history? HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. So skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. A crazy schedule can make it easy to fall back into your dinner time recipe rut. So keep mealtime exciting with over 40 recipes to choose from every week. So there's always something delicious to discover with HelloFresh. HelloFresh does all the shopping for you, and meal planning for you. Ingredients arrive at your doorstep pre-portioned and ready to cook, along with pictured step-by-step recipe cards. Doesn't get much easier than that. So go to HelloFresh.com/50broads and use code 50broads for 50% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/50broads for 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. All right, that's going to do it for me tonight. I appreciate you guys. I love you to death. We'll continue to keep this thing hot and heavy in the streets here on the Daily Eagle shows. If you want to call in, 856-442-9805. That's the phone number. We'll love to hear from you. Peace. Go Birds.